So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for your patience. My name is Maria Pappas, and I'll be facilitating our meeting this afternoon. And as you can see, this is the community forum here for the Contra Costa Behavioral Health Division. And I have a representative from the division who is the Deputy Director of Contra Costa Behavioral Health Services, and I am going to introduce Matthew Liu to come say a couple words of welcome.
Can you hear me? Good. Well, I wanted to thank all of you for coming today and being part of this very, very important community forum so that all of you can provide input into our system of care. We have stakeholders in this room that are coming from the county-operated programs. We have lots of the CBO, community-based organizations, providers. We have from the educational system, we have students representing youth issues, and many other community leaders sitting out there. So I really want to say thank you for your taking the time and giving us input into the system so that we can continue to service those who we need to provide services to. Annually, I think right now we serve about 14,000 Medi-Cal beneficiary that's in Contra Costa County. And so with Warren and his team's help, we like to be able to go out through all the different regions of the county to be able to seek input directly from the source, the local source, in terms of how we can look at where the gaps are and figure out how to plan our budget accordingly so that we can have services render out there. Currently, the Mental Health Services Act is about $50 million. It actually supports about 80 different programs and 5 innovative projects. The Mental Health Services Act is about 23% of our total entire mental health budget. So it's really, a huge deal that, it allows us to be able to do many things that are creative. So I look forward to be part of the discussion and hearing from all of you guys and to have a lively discussion and to seek those feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person I want to introduce is Kathy, who is our interpreter. If you can turn around and take a listen to what she has to say. So again, if you need Spanish interpreting, Kathy can help you, and she is going to be staying kind of in that area for a little while, so we can find her easily. The agenda for today is pretty full. We have you pretty much learning a little bit about MHSA here first, then breaking out into a small group discussions, and then coming back here. The other piece of information that you'll have throughout the afternoon here is your folder. And if you can take a look at your folder real quick, I want to walk through what's in there so that you'll know. On the left-hand side, you'll see a copy of this agenda, so you'll kind of always know what's going on at any particular time. You'll also find a copy of the PowerPoint slides that I have in front of you here. So again, if you need to take notes, if you want to remember something, you can use that for your benefit then. Then also there's a calendar of upcoming events that are not events, but meetings that the behavioral health area division has planned. So that's again for your information. In the middle part of the folder, you'll find the East Contra Costa Service Directory. And on the right-hand side, you'll find an evaluation form as well as an input form. And we'll be talking about that later in the afternoon. And also on the right-hand side, you'll find some very useful dots, red dots and green dots. And again, I'll give you some instructions about what to do with those as we move through the afternoon. I think that's it. Again, if anybody needs a snack or a drink, it's located up here to my right. Restrooms are out the door and to your right. And I think we'll go ahead and I'll present Warren Hayes to you now, who's the MHSA program manager.
Thank you, Maria. This is a real pleasure for all of us on the MHSA team, which I'm honored to be a part of. All of the meticulous, detailed planning is because of them in partnership with our Office for Consumer Empowerment. They are our small army that puts these events on. We do 3 or 4 of these a year. We try and mix it up. Tonight we're in Antioch, and we wanted to have a little special emphasis on youth and mental health. So let me ask for you folks here, I see a bunch of familiar faces, but I also see some new faces. So how many of you are here for the very first time? Yay, look at that. That's excellent. So not everybody rose their hand, and these are folks that we call our veterans. They really bring institutional memory to the issues that we grapple with. No secret, we don't get enough of the taxpayer dollar, either from the feds or the state or local. And so we have to prioritize, and we want to make especially sure that we are dialed in to the folks who are receiving the service, affected by the service, our family member of someone who receives the service. Your voice is especially important. So if you're here for the very first time, welcome, and please don't be bashful. We've designed it to break up into small groups, get really enticing questions, and hopefully get you folks to speak, talk to each other. We will record all of that information. One other thing I want to highlight, right behind you, you see all those fancy cameras there? This is our very first time on Contra Costa television. So if you're bashful, then stay away from the cameras. Otherwise, this is your venue. We are live streaming as I speak. I'm going to do just a couple of minutes to orient you to what's powering these kinds of events, and that is the Mental Health Services Act. That was voted in 2004. We just had an election. There was all kinds of propositions on the ballot. This was one of them now, 14 years ago. And quite frankly, back in the day, public mental health services was mightily struggling with insufficient funds. But the architects of this proposition put some really important strings attached to the use of the money. And first of all, it taxes those who are millionaires. So it taxes the rich and gives to those in need. What a concept. There's some values that we on the MHSA team and the Office for Consumer Empowerment live and breathe each and every day, and that is services are to be in the community, client and family driven, culturally competent, and integrated with other appropriate health and social services. These are our ideals. We wear them proudly as badges. So this is my opportunity to kind of get that out there and say, whenever we're funding anything through MHSA dollars, those are the values that need to be in the programming that we're paying for. The legislature requires that we do a 3-year program and expenditure plan. We're about halfway through the fiscal year 17 through 20, which means that if you know anything about bureaucracies, they're slow, and that you need a lot of advance time to get them planned. And so this is November of 2018. You're going to blink and it's going to be time to talk about money for July 1st, 2020 through 23. And so we get a really good head start in making sure we are plugged into the community. This event is one of those plugins. We get our money through the approval of the Board of Supervisors, so it doesn't come from the feds. It doesn't come from the state. This is locally driven dollars. And we are required to, by statute, to put on events like this and get input from you folks on where you personally see service gaps and where you would like to have resources allocated. And I'm going to share some of the, again, institutional memory, the stuff that the previous ones have come up with. So we had, what was that, 380 people help us put together the current 3-year plan of fiscal year 17 through 20. So if you don't think your voice is worth much, just by taking the time to spend with us in the next couple of hours, you are a force multiplier. Your voice will represent thousands and thousands of people. So that's really important. This is just a slide to give you kind of an idea of the types of programs that we do. We do direct service. We do prevention programs to prevent mental illness from becoming serious and debilitating. We do new stuff that are new patterns of service that we keep our service delivery vital. We put a bit of money into making sure that we have the very best and brightest workforce that is responsive to where our consumers are. It invites you to go to the county's website, and then you go into behavioral health, and within that is mental health, and within that is MHSA. Again, your slides will give you the kind of pathway to get more information. This is a little collage, and it's not in any way, shape, or form inclusive, but there's an idea of kind of where all the money goes into all of these different programs, and they all do very wonderful things. So, what do we need from you tonight? There's forms in your folder. I want to bring your attention to. One is for you to tell us what you thought. Did this thing work? What didn't it work? How could we do it better? That's the evaluation. There's also a form for those of you that are a bit bashful, or those that like to go home and think about it and reflect on what was discussed and write stuff down. So speaking in group form here is only one of several ways that we really try and dial in. Participate in the breakout sessions, and think of strategies. You know, all of the programs that you saw up on there, once upon a time after 2005, they came into being because of what you folks provide input for. One thing that we're required to do is prioritize service needs, and we have a couple little fun exercises we do every year just so that we have consistency and we can compare last year priorities to the year before. And guess what? Over time, they change, as they should. So that's one of the little drills we do. And if you don't see it anywhere, write it down, speak up. You know, all input is good input. I mentioned earlier that we really are trying to make an effort to dial into mental health issues affecting youth. And so prior to this event, we put together a survey, and we said, so what do you think are the top ones? And you can see that there is a long laundry list of issues. What we did in this survey was allow folks to vote via SurveyMonkey to kind of get the top 5. And those are the 5 that we're going to break up into small groups. And I see there's a nice size here. So if we divide by 5, that should not intimidate people. The groups should be small enough where you should be encouraged to mix it up with your group members. Here is a slide that is the one we keep updating every year, and I believe the ones in the back are the prior ones. The ones in the front are the youth. There you go. And so you're going to get a double opportunity to play with those dots. That's why you have 5 red ones and 5 green ones, because you get to vote. And if you see all the dots in the back, that's what the last community forum out in Central County voted on. And you can go rogue and go vote for something that's got nothing on it if you like. But what it does when we kind of go to all the different communities and have a focus on different populations, hopefully by the time we're done, we get a pretty rounded picture. Number 1 issue, gosh, surprise, surprise, housing and homeless services for persons with mental illness. That is and has been the number 1 issue. We're in a cycle right now where they're actually putting some money out there for housing for persons with mental illness. And so we'd like to hear on what those services and supports might look like. So here are the 5 group discussion topics, and I believe I'm going to now turn it over to my partner, Maria, who's going to put on her field general hat and get you folks organized.
Yes, so you'll see on this slide those priorities that Warren just referred to. They're now in the form of questions. So this is what's essentially going to guide your discussion in those small groups, and you'll have facilitators to help you through that. So don't think that you have to do it on your own. And I call attention to these 5 because what we're going to do is actually offer up a 6th area if these top 5 don't cover something that you really want to be able to discuss. So you might want to keep this particular slide in your handout. Keep it handy. That way you'll know the questions that are going to be asked. All right, so breaking out into groups. Notice that very first sentence. Please wait until we cover the following steps before moving into your group. And the reason I say that is I just want to make sure that people understand what needs to be done, because we actually have several rooms, and I want to make sure that you know which room you're going to be going to if you're designated for that particular area. So, number 1, in a few moments you're going to move. Please take all your items with you when you move. And the reason for that is because after you move, you may be going to another room and then you'll be coming back, or sometimes, it depends on your group, you'll be staying here and you can kind of keep your stuff with you. but we want to make sure that you feel comfortable keeping your own items with you. Number 2, please stay with your group that you're assigned to. And this is really to give you the most amount of time to be able to kind of get further into your discussion. There isn't going to be moving around from question to question and group to group. So you just stay with that one group. A reminder to, as you're having these discussions and conversations, to stay focused on the topic at hand. And I know that's hard sometimes. It's really hard. But we're going to ask that you can try to do that. That would be great. Be respectful of different perspectives. Refrain from criticizing, and really listen to understand. And those are just, again, very broad guidelines, I understand, and you will have facilitators to help you through that process. Once you join your group, you'll be with them until we reconvene back in this main hall at about 5:50. And so the way that you'll know which group you're in is if you take a look at your name tag, there's a dot on there with a number. And that dot and number will correspond to one of your facilitators, and they're all kind of in a group right there. So if you guys who are facilitators can raise your hands and let people know who to look for, they will have signs that say a color and a number, and that's how you know who you're going to go with. Again, some folks are going to stay in this room, and other folks are going to go out down the hallway to the left, and you're just going to essentially follow your facilitator. I think we're ready to go then, right? Pardon me? So yeah, Warren just noticed that a lot of them have ones on them. What you're going to do is we're keeping group sizes to about 10 people. So if you have a blue dot with a number 1, that means you're in the blue number 1 group. Some people have a blue dot with a number 2 on it. So then that would be blue number 2 group. So does that make sense? Any questions about that? I can't. Oh, yes. Then go see Audrey at the front at registration, and she'll get you one. Thanks, Melinda. All right. Yes. Okay. So if you're under 21, if you can come and meet right here with Jenny before you move to another room, please, if you're under 21. Thank you. So thank you, everyone, for making your way back to this main meeting room. I wanted to call your attention to the agenda one more time. So we're going to have an opportunity to have public comment. There's going to be a chance to speak with staff. We're going to ask for your input and evaluation forms. We're going to talk about this prioritized service needs voting, and then how to stay involved, and then we'll adjourn. So that's what we have to look forward to this for this last part. One of the things I did not mention, but in your folder in the center section, you'll see a brochure that describes CPAW, and this is a fantastic way to stay involved if you found that the conversations that you just had were interesting and you want to do more for the community. So there's actually an application to become a CPAW member. And you'll find this at the table where the snacks and the drinks are. So if you're interested, please go ahead and take an application. Warren would love to talk more about it. That's his area. So the other thing that we'll do is talk a little bit about public comment, and if you have your copy of your slides, I am not going to read this, but I'll have you, if you're interested, go ahead and read it. If you want to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting, please fill out one of these green forms, and I believe Jennifer has them. And then we'll go ahead and have them submitted back to this little white bin at the front table here again. And again, it's an opportunity for you to have about a 2-minute time to be able to say whatever you need to say for your public comment. So that's being distributed. For questions, again, the input form that was in your folder is a way for you to write whatever issue maybe that you didn't get an opportunity to provide information about in your small group discussion. If you want to take it home, fill it out. It can be submitted back to us as well. And the ever important evaluation form. We really do take a look at these forms, and we appreciate whatever feedback you want to give us. Positive, negative, we will take it all. And we try to make these forms better with that information. So we really appreciate having that information. Okay, so with regard to the voting, you'll notice that you have 2 different colored dots, and there's really an array of issues at the back here and an array of issues at the front. These ones in the front are specific to youth, and the ones at the back are more community oriented. So you'll be placing, and you'll notice that some people have already started, your red dots at the front and your green dots at the back. And now you're going to ask me, well, do I have to just do 1 dot per issue? No, you can do whatever you want to do. If you really feel strongly about a particular issue and you want to put all 5 of your dots on that one page, feel free. All right. So that's a schematic of where to go and what to do. But I think that for the most part, that's pretty clear. If you don't understand it, do you have any questions about the voting? All right. So I'll go ahead and invite, again, anybody who has public comment cards that they want to complete. You can do that now. We'll put them up in the front of the bin here. There's additional information on this table. This is also where you're going to put your input and your evaluation forms. That's where the CPAW membership application is. And there's water and snacks, because I know everybody's probably starving. I think you had 1. So you can go ahead and distribute your dots now, and we do have 1 person who has a public comment, and Warren will bring the person up.
Thank you, Maria. One more. There we go. Yeah. So you're invited to spend up to 2 minutes, whatever public comment you would prefer. And we're going to get started. And folks, if you'd like to listen and put your dots up on the board, it's called multitasking. And you're welcome to do that. Also to fill out the evaluation forms, and if you'd like to write any input. So the first public comment request is from Amelia Wood. Is Amelia here? Amelia. And you're welcome to come up front, or you can just stand or sit in place and we'll bring the mic to you, whatever you're most comfortable.
So I'm here from the Hume Center, and I'd just like to announce that the Hume Center's Pittsburgh office is hosting a stakeholders meeting on November 30th from 5:30 to 6:30. We'll be serving some great food and listening to stakeholders' thoughts on our series services for adults diagnosed with severe mental illness. Family members, community partners, and providers and consumers are all welcome to come by to learn about the Hume Center, help us improve, and eat some great food. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. Do we have any other green cards? We're going to go look at the bin over there. This is also an opportunity if you would like to buttonhole myself or one of our staff. And I'm going to totally embarrass this great staff. Our stage manager, Jenny Zesate, raise your hand, Jenny. She's on the staff. Thank you very much. Wendy Taylor, raise your hand right there. If you want to learn about innovative projects, she's the one. Right next to her is Goalie Fortune. Raise your hand, Goalie. If you want to know more about suicide prevention, that's Goalie's area. And where's Jennifer? She's hiding in the back. Jennifer Bruggeman, she is our prevention and early intervention expert. If you'd like to know more about that, if you'd like to speak to me about money or the Consolidated Planning Advisory Work Group. And I'd like to finish up with a shout out to our CPAW members. I see two right in the front here. There's Sarah Marsh and Doug Dunn. And in the back, Roberto and Candace and Jennifer Tuipilotu. Let's just give a big hand for our Office for Consumer Empowerment folks. Quite literally, they are our secret weapon. They are part of the organization, but they speak for each and every one of us. So I do have one more. I see if I keep talking long enough, people will take the time to fill out a green card. Now I'm going to need to use my glasses. Whoa. Oh my goodness, what a shock. Doug Dunn wants to give public comment.
Into the group that Sarah and I was a facilitator and Sarah was the scribe, an excellent one, Sarah, thank you. Came across I won't say the unspoken need because it was talked about, but underlying was the need for family awareness, family support, vis-a-vis programs for schools. They are very, very much lacking out here in East County, so that is something for the MHSA staff to think about and as things come forward for the 20 to 23 three-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. That's it. All right, folks. Oh, Sarah.
You don't have to be a member to come. So the calendar of all the meetings is right here. And I know there's that membership thing, which is always kind of scary to fill out a thing to become a member, but you can just come to the meeting and check it out. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And there's a calendar in your thing.
And I'll even let you say something real quick.
Oh, I did actually. The script. She has it.
Yeah?
No, it was dismissed. No, it was dismissed. So I just want to say, for everyone who put this together, thank you. For someone who has gone through the county health services system, kind of within and worked very briefly with the county. This is a great start, and I think that we're starting to get a lot more, more presence in East County, because there's a lot of need over here. We have about 5 cities kind of sporadically spread out through East County. and there's just a lot of need. There really is just a lot of need. So thank you for putting this together.
Very good. It's our pleasure. We're going to wrap this part of the evening. We'll have more of these that we will be announcing, but I want to end by singling out a couple of key people that kind of made this happen. One is Maria Pappas. Thank you very much. And last but not least, going to the front of the line, is Audrey Montana. All right, folks, that's it for this evening. Thank you. Be sure to put all your dots up and turn your evaluations in. It was a real pleasure listening to all of you speak this evening.